In 3 years, the Buhari's administration has been doing everything that it virtually can lay its hands on to handle the problems or the challenges of the medium and small and medium enterprises. This is one part of the country's recent plans to make the economy work, to create jobs and make sure that we grow economy at least at the lower industrial base. So there are quite a lot of initiatives we're talking about. At the last count, we're tracking about 7 different initiatives under the current administration. And of course, with what the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says yesterday will be a new one that will be launched in the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about that. We're having a very expansive a conversation with Celestine Okeke here, who is a lead partner with one agency involved in sustainable entrepreneurship development for medium and small enterprises. Celestine, good morning. It's good to have you.
Good morning, Boston.
Thank you. And we apologize for dragging you out of the holidays to come in here. But again, it's been 3 years, and you're in the medium and small enterprises sector. Give us your take on what you think this administration has been doing, throwing everything it can lay its hands on, different initiatives, trying to raise the game for medium and small enterprises.
Yeah, from 2015, when this government came into power, it has done a couple of things. Commendably, I think starting from the MSME clinics, where they sought to have first-hand conversation with MSMEs with a view to knowing what the challenges are, what MSMEs have been seeing as challenges in Nigeria. Moving from that to the intervention they have had out for MSMEs, both for financing and non-financial services. But the challenge also remains that it has not been driven by the institutions that are created to drive the initiative. And the challenge would then be, what happens if this government leaves power? That would be the challenge. What happens when we leave by 2019 or by 2023? So we need to institutionalize all of the efforts government is making. For instance, the Energizing Economic Initiative, where we had in our market, the solar power projects and the rest. We would have expected Medan, that is set up by government to drive small business development in Nigeria, to be the one driving that initiative. Then you have the VPs of X lending support for the program, not VP of X driving the entire initiative, and you have these agencies laying back. The implication would be, if this administration leaves office at some point in time, we might not have agencies that are established by law being able to continue from where this government stopped. But by and large, this administration has done very, very well.
But if you look at a few, some of these initiatives, the government has moved with some of these agencies. The NAFDAC, the SON, the Corporate Affairs Commission, they are carried along when it comes to having a one-stop shop from the MSMEs clinic. Do you think that is not enough for now?
Yeah, I happen to have had meetings with Tola Johnson, who's the SA MSMEs to the Vice President. Now, the idea of the MSME clinic is to go to a state, bring MSMEs in the state to interact with the Vice President, and in addition to the agencies, to say, okay, what have been your challenges? For how long have you had these challenges? What do we do to address them? So the SA now batches this information and passes across to the agencies. So it brings us back to what I did say. This should have been driven by the agencies themselves.
At the front?
At the front. Because what the SA then does is it collects this information, the complaints, the requests, and it gives same back to the agencies. Now, it has to keep tracking back to see what the agencies have been able to do to resolve those challenges. So you see, it would then mean that he can't do anything until the agencies go ahead to address the issues that have been raised.
So basically, you think these are institutional issues we need to address?
Yeah, they are clearly institutional issues, because at the end of the day, like there's something going on in NAFDAC where there is no grading for MSMEs. So if you want certification for a locally produced product, they can't tell if you're a micro, a small, or a medium enterprise. They have one price tag
for registering a product.
Registering a product.
So if one of the multinationals want to produce, maybe one of the food beverages or consumer goods want to produce honey, which I have a little bit of that in my cup of tea here, a cup of coffee. Well, then Celestine Okeke, as an MSME wants to produce honey as well. In time, we have to register both.
Yeah.
So I'm a multinational, you are an MSME. So we go to NAFDAC, and the registration fee is the same.
No declassification. They just have fee for, you want to register at this range, you pay this amount. Same thing applied at CAC. We had conversation at CAC where we were told that if there's a telecom company in Nigeria, I won't call names, is registered as a limited liability company, 10 million shareholding. paying same fee as that young guy that wants to do a limited liability company. So we need to be able to classify all of these things, which is why I said the VP is doing very well, but because he's the one driving the initiatives, he will still have to fall back to these MGAs to implement the outcome of such. They should take the lead and say, Mr. Vice President, we need you to support us in getting this done, not just tagging along with the Vice President to a state, where in a state they tag along, they collect the complaint, but back to the institution themselves, do they have the mechanism to further address these challenges? Like I said, we wouldn't want this administration to leave and this maybe a new one comes down, we don't have a VP that's as vibrant as this, and they say, oh, we just keep going as we used to go. They need to drive the initiative. Whatever challenges the MSMEs in Edo State would have told the VP at the visit are challenges that have been existing for a long time.
Well, they are not new, really. They are not most likely recent.
So you see, the SAMSMEs, Tola Johnson, only felt like, look, these MGAs are not driving the reform process.
So the government,
let's push them.
So the executive branch have looked at all the agencies and said, look, these folks are, to be mild, lackluster. They haven't delivered. So let us lead them by the hand to get the job done.
Yes, and I will point out something. We have the solar power project.
Yeah, the energizing economies
and some other places. What would have happened is for, say, Smith, for instance, to have a 10-year development plan for the leather industry in Nigeria, whether you are into shoe production, belt production, all leather works. And so this is what we need to do over a 10-year period to drive increased production. Mr. Vice President, this is the stage where we are. This is what we need to do in the next stage. Please, can you help us achieve this? Not, Mr. Vice President, thinking out what we need to do. We provide solar panel. But I tell you something. There is a value chain that brings the leather first. You process the leather before the guy in our back gets it to work on. If that value chain is not taken care of, he might get leather that is not good in quality. So he puts in so much effort with the solar panel and the power you've provided him.
But the raw material?
The raw material is not in the form it needs to be. So I said we need to have a development plan that states at every point in time, this is what we need to achieve, and this is how we will achieve that. So the Vice President will then look at it and say, okay, I'll give you political support to achieve this. I'll give support to achieve this. But when the Vice President is the one driving the entire initiative, these agencies fall back. Oh, when is the next MSME clinic? They do next to nothing until the next MSME clinic,
until the VP's office
calls them. I was even talking with one of the officials. I said, look, after the first, second, third, and fifth MSME clinics that happened, I thought you guys would have taken the lead to tell Mr. Vice President, we had taken over from you.
We're doing number 6.
We have
number 7.
Lay back. We'll bring our report and tell you this is where we need you to support us in implementing. But the attitude we have for now is they keep waiting. They schedule the next one, they tag along, they collect the complaint, which are some of that like 10, 15 years old complaints, come back to the office, they file it somewhere, and they're waiting for when the next visit will be.